and welcome to ATN's Press Roundtable. The Press Roundtable is a convergence of media practitioners who dissect the news and current affairs and also bring the right narrative in news narration. Tonight on the show, we will be dissecting some matters of interest, and we start off from what is happening within the Niger Delta region, as we have Indiomu assuring Nigerians that amnesty program won't be halted abruptly. And I'll move away from there, talk about the liquefied petroleum gas, what we love to call the cooking gas, as the price of cooking gas in Nigeria increases by 61%. And I will talk about the next issue tonight, talking about the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, taking the presidential campaign to the U.S. And finally tonight, we'll talk about the new Naira note, of course, as CBN finally has come out to give reasons why the new Naira note will be redesigned. And of course, one of the reasons given by the CBN is the fact that they want to help curb inflation with the new design of the new Naira note. Now, these are the issues basically to dissect on the show tonight. But before we do that, we will go for a quick break, and when we come back, the conversation begins.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
human trafficker.
Honourable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today. Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody.
It's good to have you back on ATN's Press Roundtable, and tonight we'll just dive straight into the conversation that we have. And of course, just like we've planned, we'll talk about what is happening, first of all, in the Niger Delta region, as we have the interim administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, PAP, Major General Barry Tariye Indiomi, retired. And he has assured that the Niger Delta Amnesty Program will not be halted abruptly, as being speculated in some quarters. Now, of course, you recall that there have been reports that the federal government will soon stop the amnesty program, but the interim administrator said that the management of the program was planning to embark on strategic advocacy to seek the buy-in and support of critical stakeholders as well as the ex-agitators. Now, speaking when he paid a courtesy visit to the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Chief Omana, in his office in Abuja, General Ndiomu said his dream was to create an alternative and more sustainable agency that would cater to the specific needs of the people, especially the impacted communities in the Niger Delta. The general, in a statement by his special advisor, Thomas Ndanusa Perotu, disclosed that his mandate was to wind down the program in tandem with international best practices. He further explained that the Niger Delta Amnesty Program was supposed to have been scrapped in 2015, but that the government, in its wisdom, felt the need to extend its lifespan to embrace more ex-agitators, explaining that this does not mean the program should remain in perpetuity. The interim administrator recalled that the presidential amnesty program, which was initially designed to last for 5 years, has stayed for 13 years, which he said was over and above the initial 5 years threshold, stressing that programs such as the Niger Delta Amnesty were usually established as a stopgap program for a given period of time and not meant to last forever. Where he went further to say that there is a deliberate, purposeful, and systematic approach to stagger the process of this engagement in the interest of its target audience, maintaining that the program will not be halted immediately. Well, such a decision, just like he said, may bring about some forms of attendant negative reaction from stakeholders. Of course, we know this. However, General Ndiomu said, quoting him now, he said, "My intention is to engage in a mutually and beneficial relationship with the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs in view of the enormity of the assignment given to him by the presidency." Now, Ndiomu has said that, however, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Chief Omana, also expressed his ministry's willingness to support the presidential amnesty program to achieve its mandate, as directed, of course, by the presidency. The minister said there was urgent need for concerted efforts to be made to ensure that the amnesty program was not scrapped without providing an alternative body to cushion the effects of the backlash from the ex-agitators. While conceding to the fact of that interventionist programs were not meant to subsist perpetually, Chief Omana called on the new interim administrator to put in place a mechanism to audit the activities of the PAP so as to ascertain the financial health of the institution. Now, he further reiterated that the cessation of the program must be given a human face. Chief Omana further advised the interim administrator as well to seek the buy-in of all interest groups within the Niger Delta region to avoid unnecessary reactions from the people. While he went further to say that as a sister agency established to address the development deficiencies of the Niger Delta region, PAP should count on its support as always. This basically the promises that the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Chief Omana, gave, of course, to retired General, and that he was basically saying, of course, now that there have been speculations that the presidency was going to put to a halt, the amnesty program that, of course, also affects positively the Niger Delta people, formerly the ex-agitators. And this program has been one of the programs that has kept a whole lot of persons in line and kept them in check to do things properly. And there are speculations that, according to what we also read in the analysis, that program was supposed to last for just 5 years. But based on the analysis as well that we read today, that it has lasted for 13 years. Now, how true this is yet, we do not know. But again, it is coming from a reliable source. And so, the promises have been made that, yes, if the amnesty program is going to end, it's not going to end abruptly. There has to be an alternative that will be made, that if this program ends, then there has to be something else in place for ex-agitators, so that, just like we say in Nigeria, they won't go back to the street stranded. And so that is also a call that is being made, of course, to the federal government, and to ensure that that alternative should be made before the scrapping of the amnesty program. That being said, we're going to move away from that conversation now and go straight to the 2023 elections, as well as we have the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now, he has left Nigeria for political campaigns in the United States of America. Now, in 2018, amidst talks that he could not visit the U.S., Atiku had, in a company of the former Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, and others, visited the U.S. The visit to the U.S. was significant, as it dismissed all doubt that Atiku could not travel to the U.S. Atiku as well is commencing a week-long electioneering campaign in the U.S., where he would be meeting Nigerians and business community during the visit. As part of his programs and engagements while in the U.S., Atiku would be meeting with Nigerians in diaspora, as well as with the PDP members in North America. He would also meet with top Nigerian business leaders based in the U.S., and later meet with young Nigerian professionals in the diaspora, among other meetings with some business community. Now, Atiku had 3 weeks ago commenced the electioneering campaign in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, but that also was kept on pause for some time, and then they were trying basically to have a reconciliation, as it were, with the G5 governors, using Governor Wike as the number one person. And just like we already know, this has been a major challenge with the PDP, as we have the governor of Rivers State saying that whether Rivers State or Rivers people would not vote for the PDP in the forthcoming elections. They will not campaign, rather, for the PDP's presidential candidates in the forthcoming elections, given certain reasons that the PDP presidential candidate came to Rivers State and chose those that he wanted to work with, and without informing the governor of Rivers State. And so he made a promise and said, hey, Rivers people will not vote for the presidential candidate of the PDP. And when we saw this story, and then seeing that the presidential candidate of the PDP has decided to take his campaign to the U.S., and some persons came from different school of thought saying, now the presidential candidate of the PDP is going to the U.S. Is it because the Rivers State governor said he was not going to vote for him, and so he's trying to go over to the U.S. and garner more support from the people, Nigerians in diaspora? Or this has always been the plan all along? We do not have direct answers to this, basically, but we also keep our fingers crossed to see how it all unfolds. But we already know currently right now that the PDP, some persons now would want to say that the PDP is divided against itself, saying the fact that certain stakeholders are no longer pleased with the PDP. Some aggrieved members of the party have refused to work in tandem with the party, saying that until, this is the popular stuff now, that until the national chairman of the PDP resigns, then they will not work with the PDP. This is basically an OG now. It has been recurrent on the newspapers. It has been recurrent on the broadcast medias as well, because we've talked about this over and over and over again. And 2023, of course, is just by the corner. What is going to be the fate of the PDP? That's the question we keep asking. And what basically is going to be the fate of the PDP in Rivers State? Knowing that Rivers State, according to speculations, is one of the strongholds in the country generally. A state that could win, a party that could win PDP. Some say that party is already heading straight to almost victory. And our fingers are crossed, however, to see that the PDP basically maybe come together and put their house in order. But until then, some persons are also saying, some Nigerians are being speculating as well. What is the PDP actually playing at this particular moment? Are they ready for the 2023 elections, or aren't they ready? Because if you are going to be leading the country, I mean, if you be given the opportunity to lead the country, then as a party, of course, you've got to learn to put your house in order. That could be a way, of course, to show to Nigerians that these persons have the capacity to rule a country. These are speculations. These are some statements that some persons have been making generally. However, Atiku is expected back to the country on Monday. And by Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, it will be the turn of Ekiti State for the campaigns, of course. Now, why the campaign rally in Ondo State would hold on Wednesday. This basically are the plans of the PDP as regards the election that is forthcoming. But again, we've seen them do their things and doing everything that they need to do at this point in time. We're basically hoping that in less than no time, we'll see the play coming from the parties. But again, we all also see seeing what happened with the APC just a few days back, saying that the court has also nullified the primaries in Rivers State, meaning that they might not be on the ballot in 2023, as speculated. And we've had the party spokesperson as well coming out to say that, well, party faithfuls be calm. We will try as much as possible to be on the ballot. And they made a promise that what happened in 2019 will not also repeat itself in 2023. These are the promises of the APC spokesperson, giving the hopes to their followers. But very quickly, we'll go for a quick break, and then when we come back, we are going to dive more into the conversations and then move over to every other conversation that we have tonight. Of course, you're still watching ATN's Press Roundtable.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today. Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker. You are a human
On them. They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. Of course, if you're just joining us, you're watching Atlantic Television Network, and this is ATN's Press Roundtable. And of course, now we're going to move into the next conversation tonight. That's this affects every one of us, almost every household. You know, as we've got to find out today that the price of cooking gas in Nigeria has increased by 61%. This, of course, was disclosed by the National Bureau of Statistics in this report in liquefied petroleum gas, which is the cooking gas price watch for September 2022. In its state profile analysis, the Bureau stated that Cross River recorded the highest average retail price for the refilling of a 12.5 kg cylinder of the product, with 10,997 naira. Kogi State also followed with 10,760 naira rather, and then Oyo also followed with about 10,724 naira. Conversely, the lowest average price was recorded in Yobe with 8,350, followed by Katsina and Taraba with 8,544 naira and 9,026 naira respectively. Now, analysis by zone showed that the Southwest recorded the highest average retail price for refilling of a 12.5 kg cylinder, with about 10,320 naira, followed by the South-South with 10,202 naira, while the Northeast recorded the lowest price with 9,300 naira. Now, due to rising prices, coupled with the recent force majeure announcement by the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers cautioned Nigerians against panic buying. Now, its president, Oladapo Olatunbosun, made the appeal in a statement against the backdrop of NLNG's declaration of force majeure on its gas facility due to the flood situation. Now, Olatunbosun said cooking gas consumers should not panic about a possible scarcity of the product as a result of the force. Now, based on information reaching the association as well, and of course information that was also made preview to pressmen, the NLNG has not shut down its production facility in Bonny as rumored, he stated. Now, these basically are the issues that we have on ground. Now, this basically is one of the challenges, of course, that we have on ground. The price for the cooking rice has gone higher than what it should be. Homes, of course, and families are complaining. Homes and families, of course, are crying out. And we almost all of us now are the users of the liquefied petroleum gas, which basically has been some of the, what families use is basically now to ensure that they cook and prepare themselves for other things that needs to be done basically in the family line. Now, looking at the whole price going up almost on a daily basis, it becomes a challenge for Nigerians. I mean, almost on a daily basis now we're having inflation prices, we're having, an increase in price for either for one commodity or the other. And we're seeing again now that the price of cooking gas in Nigeria has increased by 61%. That is a whole lot. That is a whole lot. It means that a whole lot of persons will be spending more in buying the liquefied petroleum gas. They'll be spending more in, filling their cylinder, which basically is a challenge, to a whole lot of people and all that. Individuals needs to be able to get the gas product accessibly to their homes and to their families, knowing that if this price goes higher than what it is, it affects almost every household. Inflation on everything. I mean, we should learn to check all of these things. We should learn to look into all of these situations so that citizens of the country, Nigeria, wouldn't have to go haywire. Wouldn't have to cry about almost everything in the country. Price of kerosene is on the high side. Price of petrol is on the high side. Price of the premium motor spirit, which is the fuel that we know, is on the high side. And now we're also seeing that the price of the liquefied petroleum gas is also on the high side. What exactly are we going to buy for a reasonable amount of money? The price of flour is on the high side. You go out to buy bread right now. It's expensively, it is expensive now. Price of almost everything is skyrocketing. What are we going to do in this country to enjoy the free flow of things? These are caused, these are concerns by citizens of the country, Nigeria. These are concerns by individuals, residents of the country, Nigeria. You know, it seems like if you go to the market to buy a thing now, for a specific amount, say for instance, you get onto the market to buy swords, a pack of swords for say 15 or 100 naira today. You go back there tomorrow, it might just be double or triple that particular amount. And what exactly is the cause of the inflation? What are you giving us to be the reason for all of this inflation? Why is the price rising? We do not have all of these facts and figures completely. You know, so why don't you make this whole thing available? Why don't you try as much as possible to regulate the prices? That people, individuals in the country, Nigeria, shouldn't be crying and complaining for inflation on almost every sector in the country. It is worrisome. It is tiring. It is heartbreaking. You know, people needs to have a peace of heart in enjoying the commodities in the country, Nigeria. You and I will agree to that fact. You know, go to the market. Now, just take, for instance, the price for filling about a 12 kg of gas of your cylinder now will cost you over 12,000 naira. That's just for it to fill your cylinder, costing you over 12,000 naira. And some persons are filling for more. Perhaps maybe some person might just fill for less. But it is still expensive. I mean, it's crazily expensive. Yeah, it is expensive. And just doing that on a monthly basis, other materials you still need to buy. Price of everything in the market is on the high side. Economists are crying out. Citizens are crying out. And we need to know exactly what can be done, what must be done. I mean, this inflation thing should be looked into. Come on. We're a great nation. You know, we keep saying this. We have a good soil. We've got great natural resources. Why should we be paying more for things that we can even produce and, you know, distribute, you know, for cheaper? And so some solutions might come to mind. Put in order the refineries that we have in the country. Put them to work. That all of these things can work properly, and then we can have manufacturing, we can have production, we can have processing done in the country, Nigeria. Even leaving the liquefied petroleum gas, leaving the premium motor spirit, leaving diesel now out of all of this, leaving kerosene out of this. Go down to the agricultural sector. Things are still expensive. To buy a basin of gari is on the high side. To buy these beans, rice, all of these are on the high side. I mean, go to the market, things that we used to buy for like less than 20,000 naira, you're buying them for high. You're buying them for high. Higher that amount. And it seems like nothing. No one is saying a thing. It seems like where it has come, everyone just have to adjust to it. Hey, the minimum wage still remains what it is, 30,000 naira for civil servants. Lots of persons are not receiving an increase in their salaries, of course. Lots of responsibilities are out there for individuals to take care of. Why do we have inflation, you know, ravaging the country in Nigeria? These are things that we need answers to. These are questions that we need answers to. These are situations that we need solutions to, so that Nigerians can actually enjoy themselves and ensure that, you know, we're living the good life in our country, Nigeria. I mean, we have to be proud of this country. I believe personally that we have the great resources to make sure that things work out as they should. So I'm going to put my voice and then make a call to the relevant authorities. Hey, ensure that these things are properly done. That being said, again, we'll go for a quick break, and then when we'll come back from this break, we will talk about the new Naira note. As CBN gives reasons for the Naira note design, says it is to manage inflation. So when we come back from that break, we're going to look into some of the reasons that the CBN has given. Beyond the fact that they have said that it is to manage inflation, there are other reasons that the CBN has listed out. Do not touch that dial. Let's go for this break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. Of course, you're still watching ATN's Press Roundtable. Welcome back. Of course, you're still watching ATN's Press Roundtable. Now, we're going to dive into the last lap of the conversation tonight as the Central Bank of Nigeria is set to launch new designs to replace high-value Naira notes from December 15th, 2022. Now, the bank said it is doing this to have control of the currency in circulation. That's number one reason. And also manage inflation. That's number two. And as well as tackle counterfeiting. That's number three. So three basic reasons that the bank gave now, basically that they have to to bring in this new Naira note is because they want to have control of the currency in circulation. That is number one. And number two, they want to manage inflation. And number three, they also want to tackle counterfeiting. Now, the big question we ask, which of course has to be the first question that comes to mind when we hear things like this, is how does the bank intend to do this? That's one question that perhaps we might get an answer to pretty soon. Now, the plan to redesign, the plan is to redesign the 100 Naira note, 200 Naira note, 500 Naira note, and 1,000 Naira note, and also start disbursing by December. December is about a month from now, right? Or two. And then by January 31st, 2023, the old notes are expected to be out of circulation. However, while addressing journalists on Wednesday, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, said currency management has faced several doubting challenges that have continued to escalate in scale and sophistication, with attendant and unintended consequences for the integrity of both the CBN and the country. These challenges primarily include significant hoarding of banknotes by members of the public, with statistics showing that over 85% of currency in circulation are outside the vaults of commercial banks. These basically are some of the things that he said. Now, he said, to be more specific, as at the end of September 2022, available data at the CBN indicates that 2.73 trillion naira out of the 3.23 trillion naira currency in circulation was outside the vaults of commercial banks across the country and supposedly held by the public. Evidently, currency in circulation has more than doubled since 2015, rising from 1.46 trillion naira in December 2015 to 3.23 trillion naira in September 2022. Of course, this is worrisome. And the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria has also said that it is a worrisome trend that cannot be allowed to continue. But he said that the bank believes this increase has a positive impact on inflation, which hit a 17-year high in September. He also said that the country is faced with worsening shortage of clean and fit banknotes, with attendant negative perception of the CBN and increased risk to financial stability. These are some of the reasons, of course, that the CBN governor is giving, saying that there are no clean notes anymore in the bank. And so they needed to redesign so we can have more clean notes. And that could also speak well for the country. Now, according to Mr. Emefiele, the move to redistribute the new Naira notes, which will ultimately reduce the amount of cash in circulation, will also discourage ransom payment, as large volumes of money won't be assessed. Now, we're still trying to figure out how this particular one will work. I think the thing to be done here is to work with security agencies to ensure that the rate of insecurity is definitely reduced, and not by trying to change the Naira note, saying that that could also large amounts of money are not going to be accessed. I mean, if someone's loved one is in the den of kidnappers, for instance, or evil people, they definitely will want to access a large amount of money to pay for the freedom of their loved ones. So how this is a solution, we do not know yet. But we're hoping that between now and December, we should know. However, also in view of the prevailing level of security situation in the country, the CBN is convinced that the incidents of terrorism and kidnapping would be minimized as access to the large volume of money outside the banking system used as source of funds for ransom payments will begin to dry up. Another question is, how exactly can this happen? Because we need to know if this is a solution to reducing the high rate of kidnapping that we supposedly have in the country, Nigeria. Then we need to know exactly how this can work. The CBN governor also said that the bank believes that the redesign of the currency will help deepen CBN's drive to entrench cashless economy, as it will be complemented by increased minting of our e-naira. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the e-naira, talk about the fact that our naira could also be part of the electronic monies that could also be used in the crypto world. But we're hoping that they can actually achieve that. And they want further to say that this will further also make the currency outside the banking system into the banking system, thereby making monetary policy more efficacious. Talking about the efficacy of that as well. Now, there are concerns that the move may lead to confusion, as populations in rural communities away from bank branches may find it difficult to change their currency notes within the given time. Very true. I mean, this is October. This basically is like the last week of October. And from next week, we'll be moving into November. And we're hearing that the new Naira notes that will be redesigned and brought into circulation will be put to a hold in 2 months from now. I mean, in January 31st. So it means that after January, then, come on now. It's rather, for us, I think it's impromptu that, we should have some time. We should have a whole lot of time, and ample time, to get used to this. Because not everybody would have the opportunity or the privilege, basically, to go change their money and then get the new Naira note design. All of this being said, we're hoping that the CBN is going to look into it and ensure that things are properly done. According to the EFCC welcomes move, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, also applauded the move by the CBN to redesign and reissue higher denominations of the currency. And so we have the EFCC also assenting to that and say, well, this is a good move.